Hello, everyone. I'm Josue Crims Rojano, and with me is Michael Pramawat, and this is the top 8 of the Philadelphia Regionals. On the left, we've got Alex Frezza sporting the Darkrai Terrakion deck, going up against our very own Ben Potter playing Eelektrik.
Yeah, so this is a pretty interesting matchup. I think if Ben sets up, gets his electrics going, then Ben's going to be a huge favorite. The Rayquaza is really strong in this matchup, whereas I think Alex is just trying to get a lot of early hits in and kind of retaliate. The Terrakions are going to be really interesting in this matchup as they kind of counter the Raikou EX in Ben's deck.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of those classic matchups. These are two of the top 3 decks out right now in this format. So no doubt they've both been playing this matchup a few times throughout this tournament. And we see them both in the top 8. They both had extraordinary tournaments, and one of them, unfortunately, will have his run ending here, but the other one will advance. The Darkrai Terrakion deck has the advantage of being able to, first of all, have Terrakion, which knocks out, like you mentioned, Raikou EX, but it also knocks out Eelektrik very easily, as well as Darkrai. So the Darkrai deck is really going to try to slow the Eelektrik down, while you have Ben Potter just trying to slow the game down as much as he possibly can. Stabilize. We've seen Victini here, actually, from Ben Potter, and that's a tech that was added just for this matchup in order to slow the game down just enough so that he can get his Electrics in play and get enough energy on his Rayquaza EXs.
Yeah, the Victini is really good against any Darkrai-based deck. A lot of these decks, they aren't running Switch. What they're doing is they're running Energy Switch, or if they're a Hydreigon, they just won't run either. The Victini is going to be really strong. But however, it does lose some strength if Alex does play Switch. Hard to say, but Thunderwave is going to come in for huge. You have a 75% chance of getting that paralysis off, so it's going to be really good here.
And there we see that lightning energy being attached to the Dynamo. He is going to use Thunderwave. He gets a Tails. He chooses to use Victini's ability, and he gets a Tails again, actually. So there it is, that double Tails right away. And Terrakion is free to retreat, though it's 3 retreat costs. I was going to say otherwise.
Yeah, that Thunderwave really wasn't too big. Turn 1 Thunderwave, if you're going first, not a big deal generally. It only really matters if you're up against like a Sableye, but since it's Terrakion, not a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. Not to mention that Darkrai's ability is actually pretty good about allowing him to retreat at will. So we see an energy search out of Alex's deck that lets him search up the darkness energy, which he's going to be able to put on any one of his Pokemon right now. And obviously the Darkrai decks tend to play these Sableye Pokemon, which allow them to be able to Junk Hunt, which is their attack, which lets them get two trainer cards from their discard pile and put them in their hand. Very strong attack, and now we see an N out of Alex's deck.
Yeah, I really like that energy search in Alex's deck, actually. Like, what you can do is Junk Hunt, you can Junk Hunt it back and then get the fighting energy you need for Terrakion next turn. If you don't, say, sometimes you want to get energy on the board, but you don't want to grab Dark Patch because there's no Darks in your discard. Well, you can just grab the energy search and just get energy out of your deck. It's a really nice add.
Yeah, exactly. Not to mention that if you combine the energy search with something like a Dark Patch or a energy switch, then you're now going to be able to pick up 2 trainer cards, which are both going to kind of work together in unison, and which is with Junkarm, by the way, is what I meant. And not only that, but you're going to get a fluid engine for your energies going. You're going to be able to search up the fighting energies for your Terrakion. Everything really just works very well. And here we go. Here we see the Sableye actually come down, and we see the Terrakion actually retreat with the Sableye. I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to do an energy switch right now, and there it is actually. So the energy switch is going to actually allow him to use his Junk Hunt, and he'll probably be picking up both energy switch and energy surge. Go figure.
Yeah, this is going to be that's pretty much exactly how you wanted your turn 1 to turn out if you're Alex. Ben's going to be like, that kind of sucks, but I can still, use Thunderwave, keep you paralyzed, and hopefully you won't be able to do anything. It's weird when you go Thunderwave, this Thunderwave strategy, you sometimes don't want to evolve right away. You kind of want to sit back, wait till you have everything, and then evolve everything at once. So it's kind of curious that Ben opts to evolve both Electrics right now. Maybe he has something in store for Alex here.
Yeah, and what's also interesting is he used the Ultra Ball, and obviously he did not have any lightning energies in his discard pile, because otherwise he would have discarded one. But instead he discards another Ultra Ball, and what I believe is to be a switch. So we're going to see 2 Electrics come into play. The Victini is still in play, which hopefully will be able to paralyze the Sableye. And I believe we just see a Bianca out of Ben for 3, I believe. So anyways, the Victini's going to hope to help him slow down the game. really the entire deck is just really relying on him not having the switches in his deck, like you mentioned earlier. If Alex does not have switch in his deck, then this paralyzation is really just going to slow him down completely by one turn every time, and it's going to let Ben get the energy and play that he needs. So it's all reliant on first of all the switch, second of all getting heads.
Yeah, Ben drops the Raikou here. It's kind of interesting. He really needs to take down that Terrakion, and that's double tails.
No. He actually got the heads on the last one.
Oh, okay, my mistake.
Yeah. It was close to being a double tails, though, that's for sure.
Ooh,
So here we
nice
go, an Ultra Ball with 2 discarded Darkness Energies. That's beautiful. That's exactly what you want to see so you can get your Dark Patches to really do some work here. Unfortunately, the Sableye is paralyzed, so it looks like his turn's probably going to be a short one. We see a Stunfisk actually come down. What do you think about that Pokemon?
Huh. With all these like high retreat fighting Pokemon, is that a switch in his hand?
Is it?
I can't
I would be
tell.
surprised if it isn't because, well, let's think. Yeah, I guess that explains why he's going for the energy surge, finding his fighting energy. He just found the Stunfisk right now, and that's actually going to set him up to be able to really start attacking. So if he does have the switch, that's brutal because now he's also going to be able to knock out a Tynamo to go with it. That would be very strong indeed. But he'd have to have a switch in this deck, which is not normally played.
I think it's acceptable if you run Stunfisk. Like, you run so many high retreat Pokemon that you might actually just need to run Switch. Also, Victini has been, running around in Eelektrik decks for maybe about a week or two now. So, he may have experienced this many times in testing and just kind of goes, yep, oh, there's a switch.
Oh, there's a switch. He didn't have it, but now he does. And what's interesting is he was about to attach the fighting energy to the Terrakion, but he decided to gamble a little bit and attach it to the Stunfisk, and he got rewarded. The Bianca definitely helped him find his switch here, and that's actually very, very brutal. That's going to be a very strong turn for Alex, and Ben's all of a sudden he's on the ropes.
Yeah, notice the Roselia on the bench for Alex here. That Roserade has been coming in huge for a lot of Terrakion-based decks over the course of this tournament. Roselia and Roserade, Roserade just lets you search your deck for any card you want once you evolve it. So, like, if you have an Ultra Ball, you can just turn that into a Juniper or get a Catcher, or in this case, in this situation, get Switch.
Yeah, exactly. And now we actually see a Sky Arrow Bridge come down from Ben, so he's at least going to be able to get a free retreat little engine going to kind of match up with Darkrai's ability. However, and we do see a Rayquaza EX, so now he's finally going to have access to Pokemon that can actually deal damage. So even though he is kind of on the back foot right now thanks to the Switch and the Stunfisk, he does have kind of the tools that he needs to really get this game going for the long run.
Yeah, he's beyond gain for 6 here. If he can get a Fire Energy, he'll be like set. That or an Energy Switch. It's like that'll put 2 energies on Rayquaza, knock out that Stunfisk for 120, or he can maybe go for the Thunder Wave option. We'll see where he goes with.
Yeah, that is true. Now he must be thinking, well, he played one Switch, but what are the odds that he plays multiples? Really, like I mentioned earlier, it really is the truth that you just don't have access to all these cards. If you're playing Roselia, if you're playing even one Switch, then really what are you kind of skimping out on? There has to be some cards that you're not playing. So he's hoping that he's not playing multiple Switches here and that he just kind of weathered the storm. And instead he actually retreats for the Rayquaza in order to be able to get some energies onto the Raikou. He gets 2 energies on it, so now the Raikou can use its final attack, and he's actually going to retreat here. I'm sorry, he used Switch earlier. He's going to be able to retreat here and knock out what I believe to be is the Roselia, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very smart pick by Ben. He kind of knows, all right, I want to take a prize this turn. Your board is a little weak, so I want to prevent you from really just going crazy.
Now, Alex is retreating his Stunfisk, but he doesn't have a Darkness Energy on it.
Alex just kind of realized what happened. He was just like, oh, I just got Volt-Bolted. I think at first he was like, did I just get captured? I just a slight error, but we gotta fix that. We got that fixed up right away.
Yeah, as funny as it is, the Raikou's attack actually snipes the bench, and it's a little unique. Not very many Pokemon do this. So when your bench Pokemon gets knocked out, you kind of sit there and click, what just happened, you know? But either way, we did get this fixed, and now we see another switch. This is a second switch out of Alex. This time he didn't get rid of any paralyzation, so Ben actually has to be feeling kind of okay about this. Yes, Alex plays a couple switch, so he's going to be worried about this for future games. But in the meantime, he's thinking, all right, 2 switches are gone. I still have my opponent still has 4 to 5 prizes left. I might be okay here. And now we see an N out of Alex, and we're going to see some fresh hands.
Yeah, he energy switched that fighting over from the Stunfisk to the Terrakion. So all Alex needs is an energy, and that Raikou is going to be knocked out. However, that's not totally terrible for Ben, because that'll put Alex at 3. He'll be able to maybe get up a third Eel unharassed and start using Rayquaza EX to just really deal a lot of damage.
Yeah, exactly. If the Terrakion's going to get a knockout here, then Ben is going to have hopefully a third Eel here for him anyways. And he's still going to have a Rayquaza with 100, a whole lot of HP. Let's say that much. So we see a Sableye active for Alex. I wonder if he's going to be forced to use Junk Hunt here, or if he's going to have the energy to actually be able to get a knockout here. A knockout for 2 prizes even.
Yeah, the slow attach, the lack of attachment already, I kind of suspect that he just doesn't have the energy. If I was in, yep, there's a catcher. So he's definitely trying to stall for time here. Try to, junk hunt his way back into this game, maybe get the catcher back, energy search or something along those lines. Ben has already used 2 switches too, so he's starting to run low.
What do you expect to see out of Junk Hunt here? I definitely expect to see a switch get taken here, but the other card is anybody's guess, really.
I definitely think switch for sure, and energy, maybe.
He got an energy search here with a switch, and he's actually taking the switch back, and he's picking up an energy switch. So he got energy search and energy switch again, that little mini combo there, and he decided to forego the switch. That's going to be interesting, and we're going to see if Ben can take advantage of that.
Yeah, I can't imagine Alex playing more than 2 switch. So
I said that about the first one. I actually said that about the 0 one. So we've been wrong a couple times. Let's see if we can be wrong 3 for 3.
I mean, like I'm constantly adjusting his deck list in my head, and right now I can't see more than 2. Just because of space, he runs Roserade, he runs switches, energy search. There's so many cards he's running, so I can't imagine him fitting more than 2. So he's just really saying, yeah, you're probably not going to Thunderfang me this turn. So I'm okay with this.
Yeah, that was probably correct. And we see a Pokemon catcher getting the Stunfisk active. No doubt going to start sniping the bench. Maybe the Sableye is going to be the first thing to go here. But anyways, Ben does likely play 4 switch. This is a kind of a staple in these electric decks. So that catcher, even though it was meant to stall for a little bit of time, it honestly didn't do very much. And now we see Ben take another prize, knocking out that Sableye.
Yeah, there's no real. I mean, that's the really only target you can get with this Volt. Just try to get as many prizes. Now that he's at 4, all he has to do is knock out 2 Darkrai's with the Rayquazas, and that'll be game, really. I mean, even, what can Alex really do against that? He can knock out the Raikou, go down to 3 prizes, but then Ben's just like, okay, knock out Darkrai. Okay, knock out another Darkrai, and that'll be game.
Yeah, exactly. And like we mentioned earlier at the beginning of this game, we said that Ben's entire game plan was to stall this game out in order to be able to get enough energy on the board to really be able to start knocking out these big EXs and take prizes as soon as possible with Rayquaza's large attack. However, honestly, Ben's game plan didn't really work out very well. Ben ran up against the switches that he really dreads. However, unfortunately for Alex couldn't really take advantage of that. Yes, he got a knockout with the Stunfisk. Yes, he managed to do a few nice things, but at the end of the day, he was forced to use Junk Hunt in the middle of the game, and you really never want to do that. So now Ben's going to be in the driver's seat. Alex could not take advantage of the situation, and even though Ben's game plan didn't work, he still he looks to be in control of this game.
Yeah, I mean, the only real way to get the Stunfisk out of the active spot too is just there's an attach, and then he has to energy switch the Dark off. So he's burning the energy switch here. Which is good. You want to make your opponent use as many resources as they have to, as you can make them use just to take this knockout. So this has been a pretty good play by Ben. I think he has 3 catchers left too, so he's in really good shape for this game.
Yeah, can't agree more. Now Terrakion, it does come up active, so I'm going to assume he's got, doesn't have the energy right now. Well, actually, never mind. I'm sorry. He did attach the energy. So he's going to be able to get its knockout right here. He's going to go down to 3 prizes left. But Ben's still going to have 4, and he's if he has catchers here in order to be able to, for example, catcher out that Darkrai with that darkness energy, then I can't imagine Ben losing this game, unfortunately for Alex.
Yeah, all it's going to, like, he still has to get that fire energy, though. We haven't seen any sign of it so far. We'll see if Ben can pull out. He does have a catcher. I'm not really sure if he can get that fire. I see a lightning in his hand, so he's going for it. He's definitely he's definitely catching it and just kind of Juniper for big here, and maybe he'll get it.
That is a big Juniper. Now, like you said earlier, we haven't seen very many fires out of him. There's that fire right there, so he is going to pick it up. But we hadn't seen very many fires out of and so Ben had to be relatively confident that with a small deck, he was going to be able to find the fire energies he needed. Now we're going to be able to see a knockout of this Darkrai. There are 2 Electrics. Now a 3rd Electric comes into play. And that's a whole lot of damage Rayquaza can do now.
Yeah, I think he has a 2nd Rayquaza in his hand, too. So he's going to be able to double Dynamotor onto this Rayquaza, drop the 2nd one, put another Lightning Energy on it, and then just kind of build up like just giant Rayquaza forces. And that's going to be game if he can draw another catcher.
Yeah, and not only that, but he also has his 2nd Fire Energy in his hand as well. So regardless of what Alex does, he's going to need to end here in order to have a chance.
Yeah, we haven't really seen an end all game, so...
We saw them at the beginning of the game. We saw them kind of go into an end war at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, not too many late... Oh, catcher.
Exactly. So yeah, we do see that catcher. This is not looking good for Alex, I'll tell you that much.
Well, Alex has to end here or he loses. That's pretty much how this game is boiled down to.
Not only does Alex have to end, though, I mean, Alex also has to kind of fade these large Rayquazas. This Rayquaza is not going to get knocked out at the end of this turn. That's for certain.
Yeah, I would probably just retaliate. I can't really... I would be hard-pressed to, imagine him sending Darkrai up and being like, hey, you don't even need catcher. Here you go. So, yeah, I think retaliate's going to be the play here, and it just all comes down to whether he has the end.
Yeah, this game plan definitely revolves around his opponent not having... Oh, that's going to be a Juniper. Hopefully he has an end available to him, because otherwise the game is going to be over. But, yeah, he's going to have to hope that his opponent doesn't have catcher. Excuse me. He's going to have to hope his opponent doesn't have catcher, and that his opponent, once he ends, his opponent doesn't have access to that fire energy to be able to attach to his benched Rayquaza.
All right, so we do see a catcher here on the
Electric. That means he's going to try to stall one more time. This has just not been a good game for Alex.
Yeah, once the electric deck sets up, it's pretty much like the best deck. Nothing really beats a fully set up electric deck. It's very hard. Hydreigon can maybe keep up with it, but a deck like Darkrai Terrakion, where it tries to use its speed and type advantages, it's just not that strong versus a fully set up electric deck, and that's what Victini allows you to do. It allows you to set up.
Yeah. Now this is a little nuance, but he activated his Roselia, which actually doesn't let him evolve to his Roserade because of Skyro Bridge. He wouldn't have the free retreat. So he Ultra Balled, but had to pick up a Roselia instead of a Roserade. I'm sure he would have liked to see a Roserade there and maybe pick up an N.
Yeah, he has to he's still trying to retreat here. He's going for a retaliate here, and that's gonna
be game because he does have the catcher and the fire energy in his.
Well, yeah. So that'll be it. Double Dynamotor, fire, catcher, and we'll be going on to a game 2. So this was a pretty interesting game. I enjoyed it. Ben kind of started off he got quad tail, or no, he got the first 3 flips were tails, and then he finally got that 4th one heads. So Victini really coming in. It's hard. It's weird to imagine what kind of situations would have happened if he didn't get that heads. Alex would have been able to save the switch. He would have been able to surprise it out in a clutch situation. So the Victini came in really huge that game.
Yeah, it's pretty safe to say that even though Ben's game plan didn't really go the game didn't really go according to Ben's game plan. He really can't complain about the way it played out. His opponent didn't get a very good setup, like we've mentioned throughout this entire game, and it's really important to stress that because hopefully for Alex, anyways, this next game, hopefully won't go the way the game one went. He'll be able to get a much faster Darkrai attack, and he'll be able to start doing a lot of damage and putting a lot of pressure on these Electrics. But again, didn't go that way game one. The Electrics were really never really pressured. When they did get captured up, he couldn't take advantage of it. He couldn't get that knockout, and Ben always had that switch.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that Alex never got to use Roserade that game, I don't believe. Like, the first Roselia, it was Volt-bolted, and then the second one, he couldn't do it because of it was active and he needed it for Sky Arrow. And, yeah, it was just like, maybe this game Alex will be able to use Roserade to its fullest.
Yeah, it would have been really nice to see him be able to use the Roselia at the end of that game to get an end out and really extend this game. But again, unfortunately, he activated the Roserade. Is that it?
Yeah, he wasn't able to do it last game, which was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Ben, on the other hand, I was kind of sketchy when he started discarding his switches like that. But I guess it makes sense because, like, during like mid-late game, if you figure, hey, if you're gonna catch up my Electric, you're probably gonna knock it out. So I really don't need that many switches anymore.
Yeah, that is one of the matchups where your opponent tends to not activate an Electric to keep it out in the active position. This was just a kind of an anomaly of a game. Do you feel like Ben's actually favored here, seeing how game one played out, or do you feel like maybe this was just, I mean, obviously it wasn't a very good draw for Alex, but do you feel like this is the way that the matchup's supposed to play out, or do you think maybe Alex is supposed to be favored?
I think overall Ben's favored, just simply because Rayquaza EX is just so strong. Once you get that rolling, who's gonna stop it? Like, the only card that really stops it is other Rayquazas, Hydreigons, and the Dragon Volt Rayquaza. So it's gonna be like hard pressed to stop if Ben can get fully set up. It's just really a race against time, I think.
Yeah. It's hard to disagree with you there. However, if I'm on Alex's side, I would be thinking, you know what, this game didn't go very well for me. What I need to do is I need to make sure I set up a Darkrai almost immediately and start sniping these Electrics. I cannot let him be able to Dynamotor multiple times onto his Rayquazas, because then the Rayquazas are just going to have kind of free reign on my Darkrai, and he's going to take too many prizes before I can really catch up. So I need to be able to set up way faster. I have the switches in order to be able to survive the Victini onslaught, and there's actually the Victini right now. If I'm Alex, I just really want to come out of the gates here. And doesn't seem like a very fast start. Gets a Roserade Mewtwo start.
Yeah. Even no supporter. So everything is looking right for Ben here. It was kind of funny. Ben was kind of torn on what to start with. He was like, do I start with the Rayquaza or do I start with Double Dynamo? But he was like, Stunfisk. I better start with Rayquaza.
Very smart guy. Definitely didn't fall into that trap. That Stunfisk really kind of keeps you in check. And we see a Fire Energy come down on Ben's side, and he did not decide to use his first attack.
Yeah, every time I see someone Celestial Roar, I just kind of go, yeah, that's not working out for you, is it? Yep. There goes 3 trainers. Yeah, that's why people don't do this.
You know what? I think I just realized I've been calling Roselia Roserade and Roserade Roselia so backwards. But either way, get the gist of it. He does get his first evolution into play, and it finds him a Juniper. So right away, see how he didn't have a supporter at the start of the game, but he had his Roserade in order to be able to find him the Juniper and kind of get him out of this sticky situation. So even though Ben definitely had the better start, the Roserade's going to get him out of this.
Yeah, Roserade is so good. When the format is this, when you're limited to this many sets, like there's only a few sets available right now, and any kind of card that like smooths your deck out as much as Roserade does is going to be huge. A lot of decks right now are very straightforward, so anything that ups your consistency is huge.
Yeah, I mean, he did definitely dedicate 5 slots to this deck, I believe. Might have been 4, might have only been a 2/2 line, but I've definitely seen three Roselias so far, so I think it's a 3/2 line.
Most likely 3/2.
Yeah. So anyways, we see this line, this thick line that's really helped to kind of up the consistency, but you have to wonder how many supporters he actually cut for this. So it's kind of a give and take here.
I think he just doesn't run Eviolite. I think that was the cut, because I haven't seen an Eviolite all game. all last game, and last game was a pretty long game, so it would have came down eventually. So I think that's like what he made room for. It's like, all right, I just won't run Eviolite because everyone's running Tool Scrapper. So what can I run instead? Roselia and Rosary.
Yeah, that is reasonable. He decided, you know what, people are going to be using Tool Scrapper anyways. Might as well make that card a dead card for my opponent and give myself a little bit more consistency. I actually kind of like that. Either way, we see a level ball here from Ben. He's got one Eelektrik in play. I wonder if he's going to try to find a second one or if he's going to go for a third Dynamo.
I kind of like a third Dynamo here. You kind of want to set yourself up for your more big turns. He does have he did attach an Eelektrik to the Rayquaza, so he's kind of stuck with it where it is. However, next turn he can maybe pull off a 120 hit. We'll see where he goes with this.
Yeah, now we mentioned that Ben's start was a little bit better than Alex's, but really I think the tides have turned. Ben slowed down. Ben really doesn't have a very intimidating board at all, even though he does have a Rayquaza active with 2 energy. And Alex now has access to supporters, which he didn't have access to on turn 1. So the tides are kind of turning here, but not by much. We still don't see a Darkrai. A catcher here, going to put Ben to the test. I wonder if he's going to have the switch this time.
I would doubt it. Then again, he does play 4, so who knows? However, the lack of Darkrai on Alex's field is going to be huge. No Darkrai means no Dark Patch.
Yeah, exactly. And you see how he attaches the energy to the Roselia, Roserade, I'm sorry. And now we're going to see a big Juniper, a 5-card Juniper out of Alex, and you have to wonder if he discarded any important cards here.
The nice thing about Sableye, though, is if he draws Sableye energy, he can just be since he captured up the Eelektrik, and as long as Ben doesn't draw a switch, he can just simply go, hey, no problem. But it seems like that won't not be the case, as he drops down another Roserade or another Roselia, and just says, I'm just going to start attacking. Ooh, even has the energy switch for the double fighting Terrakion.
Ooh, that's gonna be strong. He actually gets the darkness off of the Roserade. That's kind of okay still. He can always have another energy switch to get the fighting off of the other Mewtwo and whatnot. And really, you don't want that darkness on the Roserade.
Yeah, I actually like that energy switch more than the double fighting one. Because the Roserade at this point, it served its purpose. Right now, all he's saying is, well, if you really want a prize, here you go. You can Volt this guy. Just know that I'm going to retaliate your Raikou right away.
Exactly. We see an N out of Ben, but we don't see a second Eelektrik yet. And I don't think we have any lightning energies in the discard pile either. So again, I can't stress this is not a very good start for Ben Potter right now.
Yeah, he's really hoping for the Ultra Ball lightning energy, 2 lightning energies right now.
And
it looks like a bunch of trainers in his hand, so he didn't get it. Just kind of staring, that's one of the downfalls of Eelektrik early game, is sometimes you just can't get lightning energies in the discard, which is very frustrating, but, as the game goes on, I'm sure it'll start working out more.
Yeah, decks tend to have a very low energy count. They tend to gamble a little bit on that end, and every once in a while it will bite you in the butt. Now we see a Tool Scrapper get discarded as well as an N, I believe. So that's a few Ns down the drain, and you're going to see if maybe at the end of the game they're going to be kind of looking for the last ones. So we see an Eelektrik come down into play, but again, no lightning energies.
I like Ben's choice here of discarding the Tool Scrapper. He's identified that, you know what, this card is not going to be good this matchup. I've kind of figured out that, hey, how did you fit those Roserades in? Well, you clearly cut Eviolites, so I don't need Tool Scrapper. So a nice read by Ben.
Yeah, and what do you think about this play? He decides to spend his switch, so he did have the switch to be able to get out of the active position, but he only has the ability to deal 60 damage with Rayquaza.
I think it's more so he can start using Thunder Wave with the Dynamo. He just doesn't have any energies in his discards. He may not even have a supporter, so he needs some way to just start stalling for time and trying to set up. His opponent discards a bunch of ends here. Oh man, is that I wonder how many ends.
2, I believe. Yeah.
He discarded 2, but I wonder how many has gone into the discard from previous turns, because it's just been Juniper after Juniper.
Yeah, that is one of the downsides of Juniper. As strong as the card is, Oh, there's another end gone too, by the way. As strong as the card is, you're going to be discarding a lot of useful cards. And I can't stress how important these cards are at the end of the game when you've seen pretty much every card in your deck.
So I like Alex's train of thought here. He's saying, okay, I am going to be the one who's going to be very aggressive this game. I'm going to be the one taking a lot of prizes. What supporter specifically do I not want to draw? And I don't want to give you like 5, 6 cards and me draw 2. That doesn't make sense. So I'll just get rid of them now. And when I like random receiver, I won't draw it later.
Exactly. And not only that, but you see how he Ultra Balls for that Rose Raid, gets a second Rose Raid into play, and immediately picks out his card that he wanted to pick up with it. So you absolutely have to see a strong game plan out of Alex here, and I would be very surprised if he doesn't take at least one prize here, and, well, probably just one prize, but he might get a knockout of that Raikou.
Well, because there's 60 damage on that Eelektrik, if he Rose Raided for catcher, he catchers the other Eelektrik here, and then takes 2 prizes.
Yeah, you are right. He does have 60 damage on that Eelektrik. If, okay, he didn't get the catcher, so there's still going to be one Eelektrik in play. But it could have been a very backbreaking turn, and as it is, it's still kind of a strong turn here. And we see another switch being used here by Ben. Gets the Victini in the active position. Now he plays an N, gets his opponent down to a 4-card hand, I believe, and he's going to have a fresh hand of 6.
Yeah, so this turn can go either way for Ben. He has 1 Lightning Energy in the discard. He really needs a second one. If he can get 2 Lightning in the discard and then attach a third, he's going to be in great shape for this game. He can be able to do 180 to the Darkrai. Granted, Retaliate will knock out his Rayquaza. However, that's a turn where his Eels aren't being harassed.
Not only that, though, but you realize that he's going to have to get 1 more energy in his discard pile. He's going to have to get an Eelektrik into play, and he's going to need to be able to get another energy from his hand onto the Rayquaza. That's a tall order. That's definitely no easy task.
Well, it's 2 Lightnings and an Ultra Ball. So as long as he has that, he can get it, because you discard a Lightning and another card with Ultra Ball, get the Eelektrik, and as long as you have the third energy for your attachment, you're fine. He does have a level ball, so it's just whether he can get that energy into this card at this point.
So we do see that second Eelektrik come down. No doubt going to be evolved this turn, so now it's just a matter of getting the energy onto the Rayquaza, sacrificing his Rayquaza, getting his opponent even further ahead on prizes, but, well, maybe not further ahead, but his opponent actually start taking a lot more prizes. But the trade-off's going to be fine because he's going to get rid of a Darkrai with quite a few energies on it, and he will no longer have a Darkrai in play. That's a very important situation to be in.
All right, so what Ben's doing here, he's going to hit the Darkrai for 120. This is fine, though, because what he's planning here is I think what he's planning is, all right, you're going to take out my Rayquaza. That's okay. I'm going to catcher up a Terrakion, the one with no energy on it. Mm-hmm. I am going to Volt Bolt your Darkrai, and I'm going to hopefully even end you this turn. So he's going for he's shooting for the stars here, but maybe he'll get it.
Yeah, he is a little low on ends, unfortunately. So maybe he won't be able to pull off the end. It's also important to note that Alex has shown he's played Switch. The Switch is going to leave him a little bit vulnerable here, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Ben's game plan, again, it tends to rely so much on paralyzing his opponent or just, stalling for time that the Switch really puts the brakes on that game plan. And we see a Bianca out of Alex drawing 2 cards. 3 cards? Nope, just 3.
Yeah, one thing to note is Alex's deck is getting dangerously low. He still has to take 5 prizes. That's a lot. He has to start being very careful on what he does with his cards left.
There's that catcher. Going to be taking an Eelektrik prize this turn, I believe. And I wonder if he's going to shoot the Victini as well.
Yeah, this is nice for Alex. He kind of limits Ben's options. Ben will be able to knock out that Darkrai this turn, though, because he can just simply do 60 with the Rayquaza. So Ben's really going to need to get a Super Rod here, rebuild his Eel line, get that, just get his board back into shape.
Yeah. Now, another thing to mention is once the Rayquaza inevitably gets knocked out here, we're going to be down to 2 prizes for Alex, and Ben still has, I believe, 6 left, right? He hasn't taken a prize yet?
Right. If Ben takes a prize here, if Ben knocks out the Darkrai here, it'll be 4-4, and then Retaliate will knock out the Eel or the Rayquaza, which it'll be 2-4, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Correct. Yeah, so we're definitely seeing the prize exchange go in Alex's favor. Tends to not happen this late in the game, but then again, neither player really had very stellar starts once again.
Yeah, the one nice thing about setup decks is they can make some stellar comebacks. Hydreigon has done this plenty of times. Eelektrik has done this plenty of times. When you have so much HP on your Pokemon, you can just do a lot of cool stuff.
Exactly. We do see the Terrakion get activated for Alex now, and what do you think is happening here?
I think he's going for a Thunderfang. He's just saying, all right, I'm going to Thunderfang you. I'm going to get my heads on Paralysis. Hopefully you don't have Switch, which we know Alex does. And maybe I can buy myself a turn and try and set up.
Yeah, Ben's on the ropes, and his plays kind of show it. So with 60-minute time limits here, we aren't dangerously low on the clock, but the clock has to start coming into play, no?
It's probably, both players are probably not thinking about it. Game 1 was relatively fast. Game 2 has been relatively quick. We'll see if it gets to it. I think even if it gets the time, neither deck has an inherent advantage in this matchup. I think both decks take prizes relatively at the same pace.
Yeah, not to mention that Ben can kind of dictate the pace of play, or not the pace of play, but the pace of the game with Victini. So we see it's going to be really interesting to see how this game ends up playing out at the end. We see the Darkrai get loaded a little bit more again in order to be able to really start dealing damage. And the Terrakion stranded up top. We see the energy switch to be able to retreat the Terrakion, unless he has a fighting energy in his hand. But he just attached the darkness, no?
That was off the Dark Patch. I really like this play by Alex. He's holding the switch, so he knows if I get end, I am going to be drawing very little cards. So I'm going to need the card that gets me my out, which is Switch. So that's going to be huge here. Being able to retreat, and he's going to send up the Terrakion and just poke for 30 for a knockout here. Very nice.
I like it. I dig it. We're going to see that knockout from him go down to 3 prizes. Opponent still has a whole lot of prizes left and really doesn't have very many easy targets. The Terrakion with 100 HP left is still very strong, very, very difficult to knock out. And the Raikou threatens to get knocked out and give his opponent 2 of those remaining 3 prizes.
Yeah, so now it's just going to come down to he can catch or something in Volt Bolt. Maybe just make him waste cards. Like he might lose another 2 prizes here. That's for sure. So maybe brings up a Roserade, yeah, and then Volt Bolts. I think you knock out the Darkrai here and just hope your opponent doesn't get out another Darkrai, which we know he has, but Ben really just needs to get N here. He might be going for like the Hail Mary and you to 1, hope I win.
That's a Juniper out of Potter. He did not discard any Ns though, so still drawing live with the N. I kind of liked how meek Ben was with his catcher. If you noticed. He wasn't strong about it. He wasn't, he wasn't over the top about it and like point at his opponent's Pokemon with the catcher. No, he was very meek, kind of just going like, I know I'm on the ropes here, but hopefully you don't have what you need. And
Ben did draw a Max Potion here, so that's going to be huge. The Max Potion is going to come in really nicely, and we do see a Stunfisk. This is not the one that does the 2020. This is the one that does Thundershock for 50. Off lightning energies, so it's a very interesting add into Ben's deck.
I'm very happy to see the Max Potion be used immediately and not kind of baited out for like a Night Spear or anything like that. We do see the Raikou take the knockout there on a Terrakion, was it?
Yeah, it stops the Retaliate. It kind of forces. He knows his opponent's used a lot of energy switches. So it kind of forced, he's like, okay, you're probably out of energy switch. So the only way you're really knocking out this Raikou is just by having a fighting energy. But you've discarded a lot of cards too, so you may not even have that card. We'll see.
Well, he needs a fighting energy and he needs an energy switch, no? Because doesn't have a retreat?
Right. He would need he has a switch in his hand, so he'd have to burn it.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. He would be able to use the Switch as well. Gotta love playing Switch. Switch is such a strong card. I know it's not used very much in Darkrai decks, but you have to understand how strong this card is. Where even when it's at its weakest, it's still inherently strong.
I think it's more of a metagame shift too. Like a lot of players started playing Victini in their eel lists, so Darkrai decks just kind of lost until they started putting Switch in, and then they're like, "All right, I know this isn't completely optimal, but at least gives me some game versus you, so I'll play it."
Yeah, exactly. We see the Rayquaza get activated with no energies. Really, Ben does not have a board at all. And without any Eeelektriks in play and his opponent having 2 prizes left and Ben having 2 very accessible EXs in play, you have to think that this game is firmly in Alex's favor and they're going to go to a deciding Game 3. This is kind of exciting.
This is a cute move. It's Tickle, so it does 30 times the number of heads. So that's a knockout, I think. Yep.
Okay. So we do see a knockout there. I have no idea how much HP that Stunfisk has or if it's going to get knocked out easily.
I believe it's like 110, so he'll be okay with just doing... yeah, if he just attaches a energy to Mewtwo, it'll knock out that Stunfisk.
Okay. And we see a Sharon out of Alex. That's kind of an interesting supporter to play here. Not one I would normally see in this deck. We see Alex kind of spread out his deck, see how many cards he's got left to work with, see how many turns he's got left to work with. And Ben's deck is also really thin. Gotta love that about this about this game of Pokemon, where you really get to see the vast majority of your cards, except for a few of your prize cards towards the end of the game. You have access to so many options and so many opportunities to really pull games out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think this matchup is going to come down to like Thunderfang, honestly. Like Alex is most likely out of switches here. Ben is probably just going to try and deck him out of the game. So he gets a heads on Thunderfang. Alex slumps his head knowing he just doesn't have the switch. Oh man, this is going to be quite a ride.
Now, we haven't seen a Super Rod out of Ben this game, have we?
Not yet. I believe it's probably prized.
Yeah, there's a very good chance it's prized. I don't recall seeing it in his mini deck that he's got going there. And that is if he even plays it. Most decks would play it. I would assume he would too. But if we see a Super Rod out of him, then we can definitely see that Victini come back for revenge.
Yeah. Like, this is one of the clutch situations where it's going to be huge. I kind of just like Ben playing down the Rayquaza from Dragonvolt. It has a big retreat cost, so that could end up biting him later on. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. He attaches a fire energy to it, knowing that if it gets activated, he's gonna have to do something about it. He got heads, right? Yeah, he got heads. Wow, this is very interesting. This is exciting. Can Ben really pull this game off here? It looks like he's honestly down and out. His opponent's down to 1 prize left. He has nothing but very vulnerable Pokemon in play. There's a switch. Oh, there's a switch out of Alex. Is that going to be enough to knock him out? We'll have to wait and see.
Well, he doesn't have any fighting energy in play, so he just switches out just to do X-Ball here, which is going to hit for 80 damage. That's a good amount. Then, all Alex will need is another energy on Mewtwo to knock out the Raikou. So,
and for his opponent's details.
Yeah. Oh, there's a Super Rod. It finally hits for Ben. So he definitely will live. It's interesting. I wonder how many catchers Alex has used. If he's used all 4, then, all Ben has to do is just retreat for Rayquaza and just live. And that's game.
Wow.
Because he does have the Super Rod. So he will be able to just...
he's gambling a little bit. He gets Tails here, and that's going to be the game if Alex has the energy.
Yeah.
So, you were right that that if he decided that his opponent was out of Pokemon catchers, he could have started retreating for the Rayquazas and try to do some sort of a stall trick there. But instead, he decides to gamble a little bit, use Thunderfang, gets Tails, and it's up to his opponent now to find the energy. You'd assume that Alex would not be slow rolling the energy if he had it. So you have to wonder what's going through Alex's mind right now.
I think he's just counting energies at this point. He's just like, all right.
Can I gamble? Okay, can I share? No, that's the last. Oh, the last card in his deck was the energy. He was down to 1 card left in his deck, and he still pulls it off. That's a very incredible play by Alex, and he gets it down to Game 3. I can't say this. I can't keep stressing this. This is a very exciting game going for them. We've seen both of these decks kind of have very slow starts. Really, no ideal starts from any of these players in any of these two games yet. But we're seeing what they can pull off with what they've got.
Yeah, that was a very scrappy win by Alex. And that just shows how like good both players are, how good their decks are, and how close this matchup is. Like, it's good to see that we're not seeing any games where one person just runs over the other. So it kind of shows how like balanced this one particular matchup at least is.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned that neither players really ran away with any of these games. They've been relatively close, with the exception of game one maybe, where Ben really was in no danger after the first few turns. But it's interesting that this format really kind of brings out this that type of game where you have one player just kind of running away with the game, the other player trying to catch up, but really, for the most part, not really being able to do that. And it's very refreshing to see some close games here.
Yeah, that might be more of like just the format being so limited in card pool. You know, you can only do so many things. So most of the because the card pool is so limited, you can only build so many decks. So everyone knows what everyone else is playing. You can kind of just like go, okay, I'll just play the thing that has good matchups versus pretty much anything.
Yeah, one thing I do want to mention is Alex's shuffling technique is very similar to mine, except for his is so much cleaner. He spreads out the deck into 6 piles very quickly, but you can see how he's very accurate. While mine's kind of just like a really big mess, and you kind of just see just cards lying around everywhere. And both players mulligan here, so we're gonna see a little bit more shuffling for both players.
Yeah, I wonder. Well, Ben does get to go first here, so it's going to be interesting to see what he opts to start off with. You know, if he starts off, like, I could see him just starting, like, Dynamo start, and just, even if he has EXs in his hand, and just be like, alright, I'm just going to Thunder Wave you here. Oh, yeah. Because, like, worst case scenario, he can just retreat, whatevs, no problem. And we'll just see how this Game 3 turns out with Ben going first.
I think we do see a double Dynamo start from Ben, by the way.
Yep. So, here we go. Game 3 for all the marbles. All right. So we do see double Dynamo versus Darkrai.
Now, obviously, we're going to be seeing some Thunderwave action right now. Going to be interesting to see if he goes immediately for the Victini. Obviously, he will if he has a level ball. If not, then really what he's going to try to do with his first few turns, like I mentioned, trying to set up that's his entire game plan. Discards an energy with the Ultra Ball, so he's looking good. He gets that Victini. Going to have 2 shots at paralyzing the Darkrai and slowing his opponent down from being able to use maybe something like Junk Hunt on turn 1.
It's interesting. I almost like want to hold the Ultra Ball at this point because, like, realistically, what is Darkrai going to do here? Like, it has to like attach. Like, there's the Darkrai decks are generally very limited turn 1, so I think maybe like the Victini here is overextending a little bit. And maybe just kind of sit back, see what you draw, and then Ultra Ball when you absolutely have to.
Yeah, you see Alex just attach an energy and pass. Obviously you couldn't attack anyways, but you do see the fact that Alex does not have a supporter right now. We're going to see another Thunder Wave. Gets Tails, I believe. No, I guess not.
Ben forgot the Victory Star here.
Oh, so it was Tails and he didn't Victory Star. Ooh, that's not good. Luckily for him, his opponent attaches an energy and passes. Obviously, Ben does not have a very strong start either. Ben is, I don't know. Ben, if I'm Ben here, I really do not like my start. I haven't played a supporter yet. I know my opponent hasn't either, but at least my opponent can start dealing 90 damage on turn 3. Get the heads here.
We see it. Yep, and forgets to flip again. Oh no. And then we're gonna see a Night Spear.
I keep assuming he's getting heads because he's not reflipping, but he's really just forgetting. And now he puts the damage on the Victini, so you have to know that he was like, oops.
Yeah. I mean, now he has to know. He's looking at the Victini and just goes, oh no.
No. So now he's potentially going to evolve to Eelektrik. Oh, he only has a fire energy. Does not have access to a lightning energy to be able to. Oh no, a catcher will actually end this game right now.
Yeah, if he gets catcher, then game's over.
Looks like,
there it is, yeah.
That's the end of the game. very sad ending to this series, which proved to be a very interesting one. But Game 3 did not deliver, unfortunately. However, you have to wonder, what did the nerves maybe get to Ben by not remembering his victory star? I mean, that's the entire reason to play the big team. That's why you Ultra Ball for it.
Yeah, I think it may have been like he got kind of rattled by Game 2, maybe. Like, Game 2 was such a long game, and, sometimes you just forget. Like, it happens.
Yeah. You have to wonder if really, if this is going to affect Ben. I mean, nobody likes to lose, especially not if you made a very simple mistake. And, I mean, forget that. Top 8 at a regionals is very impressive. Very good run by Ben. Alex, however, gets to move on. Alex moves on to the top 4 of the Philadelphia regionals. You have to wonder if maybe this is Alex's year.
Maybe. We'll see in the top 4, and yeah, we'll just see how that works out.
Yeah. We'd like to thank everybody for watching, and please keep watching as the top 4 and finally the finals come to a conclusion here at Philadelphia Regionals.
All right.